Welcome, great souls, to the 81st class of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 10 and we may try to finish chapter 10 if possible today. In the last class, we covered a couple of verses, 34, 35, and half of 36. So let's just quickly revise what we studied last time. In shloka number 34, Krishna said to Arjuna, I am all dissolving death and I am birth. And death is such an important phenomenon because just imagine if no human being, no animal, no plant would ever die. What will happen to the earth? What will happen to the universe? Because the universe has other planets and other beings, if there was no phenomenon called death, then how would life be renewed? For birth to happen, death is important. So Krishna is saying, I am that death. And we know death is an equalizer. Whatever assets you have, whether you are wealthy, whether you are poor, you are healthy or sick, you are intelligent or not, whatever you are doing in this life, everything is going to end in that one death, which is common to everybody. The problem is that we forget that we are going to die. Yes, sometimes when we go to somebody's cremation ceremony or, there's a death in the family, for some time we develop what is called Shamshan Vairagya, means that a detachment to this world associated with death. But after a few days, we find that goes away, and then we again indulge into our normal daily life pleasures, which we think are going to give us happiness, but actually they don't. So it is important that we remember the truth of death all the time. And death is very important. It dissolves. And we, of course, know that our souls are immortal. The soul will never die. It is only the death of the physical body. And if we want to, of course, advance spiritually further, then the astral body and the causal body also have to go, finally, they have to dissolve in the infinite so that the soul can be ever free. So then Krishna says that amongst the feminine qualities, so both the Purusha and Prakriti, so the Heavenly Father and the Divine Mother as cosmic nature, it is said that they have these 7 daughters or 7 qualities which are present in human beings, and each human can increase that one of these qualities or decrease it. It is up to him or her to utilize these present feminine qualities and make his or her life better. So the first quality that he talks about is, he says, I am Kirti or fame. And we know that Kirti is not just ego-based glory, but it is the sweet fragrance of a well-lived life. That is true glory. That is true Kirti. The second, he says, is Shri. Shri means prosperity, wealth, but it also means grace, auspiciousness, and beauty. Then the third, he says, is speech or vak. So speech is very important for all of us, and not only are the humans communicating, but the birds, the animals, even by certain frequencies, so many other species are communicating with each other. And the highest form of speech, Master says, is that speech through which the Vedas were revealed to the rishis. And then rishis use their own language to reveal that truth to mankind. So that's perfect speech is vak, and that is the feminine quality. And we as individual beings must utilize our power of speech very, very carefully. We should understand, as Paramahansa Yogananda has explained in the autobiography of a yogi, that human speech has a lot of power. Therefore, we should use our words very, very kindly, and they should be beneficial words, and we should be careful about what we are speaking. There should be honesty in our speech. The next character he talks about is memory or smriti. And memory, we know, is a function that it's a continuation of consciousness. It connects a bridge between past and present. And this quality also we should utilize with intelligence, because since life has both good and bad events and circumstances and associated emotions, when we use our memory, we should use it only to pick up good lessons from our life, or circumstances which made us happy. Because what is the point brooding over painful circumstances unless you have a lesson there kept for you? So just pick up the lesson from a past bad experience and think of only good memories. And the highest form of memory or smriti is to remember who we really are. Who am I? What am I? What is this soul? And what is this universe? What is the truth? So remembering your own truth, coming back to your own pure awareness, that is the highest form of memory. Then the next quality is discriminative intelligence or medha. So this is not just a knowledge, a book cramming kind of a knowledge. It is a practical knowledge. Whatever knowledge that you gain, when you use it wisely in the experiences of life, that becomes a discriminative intelligence. And that discriminative intelligence is present in the entire cosmos. The entire macrocosm as well as the microcosmic human body is run by a very fine intelligence. And that medha is said to be one of the feminine daughters or feminine qualities of Divine Mother and Father. The next quality is dhriti. Now, dhriti in some commentaries has been explained as the power of resilience, a determination, but Master explains it more as an intuitive capability, and both of them combined together are very, very important for spiritual growth. The next quality is kshama. So kshama has been explained both as forgiveness as well as forbearance. Not only is it the ability to be calm, patient, and steadfast, because that is what upholds life in the end, but it is also the ability with love to let go of difficulties or failures from the others. Why? Because the others are also ourselves. Okay. We move to shloka number 35. Here Krishna says, among samas or hymns, I am the Brihat Saman, and among poetic meters, I am Gayatri. And we know these are great poems, especially the Gayatri Mantra. Gayatri Mantra, it is said, is like the summary of the whole Vedas. It is that illuminating mantra by which, chanting which over and over again, understanding its meaning, we can actually gain enlightenment. It is called the mantra of enlightenment. And Krishna says here, I am that awareness, that mantra, which awakens awareness in my own self. And of course, the deity of the Gayatri Mantra is the sun or light or Savitur. And now he has already said that amongst luminaries, I am the sun. So Krishna is all in all. Then he says, among months, I am Margashirsha. So Margashirsha is one of the winter months, a healthy month, an auspicious month. And then he says, among seasons, I am Kusumkar or the spring season. And because he is renaming his glories over here, and spring season is a glorious season, so he says this. But Yogananda ji gives us a beautiful metaphysical explanation for this. Margashirsha, he says, Marg means path. So the spinal highway is the Marg or path. And Shirsha is the head or the pointing out to the crown of our head, the Sahasrara chakra. And then when he talks about Kusumkara, he says that we know that each chakra has representative lotuses in it. And as the Kundalini rises, as each chakra is awakened, the lotus of that chakra is supposed to be blossoming. So when by the movement of Kundalini, by good actions, by yogic practice, by bhakti, when Kundalini rises, it awakens the lotuses, it opens and blossoms the lotuses, coming up to the 1,000-petal lotus in the Sahasrara. That blooming of the lotuses is Kusumkara, and Krishna says, I am that. Then shloka number 36 is very, very interesting, where he says, I am the gambling of the practicers of fraud. So why does he say so? And we have to understand that this is a world of duality. There is both the hero and the villain. There is both the good and the bad, the light and the shadow. And both are parts of God. So it's not that the dark side is not Krishna. Both are, everything is Krishna. And he's saying that why does he pick up gambling is because gambling is that kind of a game which tempts you for instant gain. And you kind of lose your self-control. It tests your self-control and it tempts you to go towards instant gain. And instant gain is never a good idea. Any time in life where you feel that you are being promised a gain which appears more than is common sense or science tells you that it is possible, means it's a trap. Now, just if you think of the story in the Ramayana where Ma Sita is tempted by a golden deer in the forest. So the interesting thing is that Ma Sita is Mother Nature herself. Ma Sita is Maya herself. And yet when she is playing in a human body and she finds that in a dense forest there is a golden deer, it doesn't occur to her that why should there be a golden deer in a forest? Because a golden deer does not exist. So anytime in life when there are so many financial schemes coming and they promise you instant results, and there are other things also. Sometimes people promise you a raise through the corporate ladder. So anytime you are shown that it is possible to go faster than is common sense tells you is, or you can gain something without the fundamental basis to it, means that should be considered as a trap unless proven otherwise. And therefore gambling is that game in the Mahabharata also, where Yudhishthir, even though he is Dharmaraj, even that person is, he gets caught up in that and he just feels that maybe one more chance. And that is what gambling does to us. And in indirect ways, even though we may not go to a casino on a regular basis, but in our life we do gamble sometimes, and we should beware again. Are we going towards a temptation, or are we taking? So there's a difference, between taking a healthy risk or versus actually putting in everything that you have and trading that off. So be wise enough, have that medha, that intelligence to know what to do with your funds and what to do with other resources in your life. And you should not put everything at stake just for one little temptations, because all temptations in the end prove to be very, very petty. Now, Maya itself is a deceiver. So, in a sense, God through his Maya is deceiving us all the time, and we are in this cosmic hypnosis that we think that we are separate individuals and we are suffering for it. But then also through this Maya, the Vidya part of this Maya, it is that we are trained to develop non-attachment. We are trained to develop, a kind of a karma yoga or service to others, or we are trained to develop bhakti, because the Vidya aspect of Maya also tells us how to get out of this gambling game. How can we become free from this game? Initially, we don't even know that we are caught up in a game or we are caught up in a leela or a dream. But once we realize that, yes, this is our status, then through the use of the brighter side, the sattvic side of the same Maya, we are able to unentangle ourselves and become free. Then in the same shloka, he says, I am the radiance of the radiant. And how do spiritual people become radiant? It's because they are practicing the science of yoga, which frees a lot of energy in them. It harmonizes their prana. And also because it causes the rise of Kundalini, and there is more energy flowing through the body. With practices like Kriya Yoga, we know that a lot of energy is conserved. We are able to distill more oxygen from the air we breathe, because that is the science behind these techniques. Even those who do other forms of meditation, who are able to still themselves, medically and scientifically speaking, they are able to activate the parasympathetic system of their being. They are able to relax. And that is how a kind of a radiance starts. Plus, they practice all the virtues like honesty, non-stealing, non-greed, brahmacharya, all of that together. They create a radiance in the human being. And there is a calmness on the face. There is a light in the eyes, a smile on the face, a calmness of composure, of posture, as well as all activity. So, Master says that even so, the nervous system can be so charged for a yogi that actually his skin can start to glow. He can become radiant by the power of the God communion that is flowing through his nervous system. And but again, this comes with a disclaimer. So do not judge people by their appearance, because you do not know it. So radiance is only one aspect of the presence of a great yogi, and the yogi can have many qualities and may not be apparently radiant to you on the outside, but may have great depths of or levels of advancement. So it is not for us to judge anybody, but it is a general observation that people who meditate, people who do Kriya Yoga, they look younger, they have brighter faces because they're also very virtuous in their lives. Then he says, I am victory and I am the striving power. Okay, so let's discuss this first. So he says, I am victory. So is this, he's talking about any kind of victories that we do on a daily basis, that I'm fighting a game, so I'm victorious, I'm winning a battle, I'm victorious, I'm defeating somebody, maybe at work, no, because I'm competing with them and I am victorious. Is he talking about that kind of victory? No. So he is talking of victory of dharma, victory of truth, victory of higher consciousness. That is the victory that he is, mentioning here. And then he says that there is actually a shloka from the Manusmriti and even in the Mahabharata which says, Dharmo rakshati rakshatah. What does that mean? So it is said that Dharma protects those who protect it. So let us understand this. That is why the true victory of Dharma will be understood. Why is it so important that we must be dharmic? Dharmic in the sense not religious, but in the sense of righteous. So if you are being a dharmic person, a righteous person, when adversity strikes you, then that your own dharmic practice, your own righteousness will protect you. So let's take a couple of examples, daily life. So let's say someone's belongings, money, or even some jewelry is kept in the open. You are around that area and it is, you can pick it up and nobody's going to see it. Nobody in the sense, no human is going to see it. But you control yourself, you restrain yourself, and you try to find out to who the belonging is, and you try to give it to that person. So what happens is, at a later date, sometimes your own belongings are kept in an unsafe open area without your realizing it. And in this situation, you will find that a person will come to you and give you back your belongings. So you may say, no, this is not true, and people are actually cheating and they are picking up or they are stealing. But actually, if your things are getting stolen, means it is something from the past that you have to balance out. But mostly, at least I have experienced this in life, that if whatever you give to the universe, the same thing you get back. That is similar to the law of karma. And here you are protecting righteousness by doing the right thing. Now, another example we can take is that if somebody else's child is in a difficult situation and you kind of help that child or you protect that child, then you find that when your own children are in some stuck situation or their safety is at stake, then somebody will come and they will help your children. So it's everything balances out, and actually it's not somebody else's children. There is no other actually, but still, if we practice these things, we find that it is our own good karma. So if there is actually any armor that we have, it is the good actions that we do. It is the dharmic victory that we gain. That is why Swamiji would quote this always from the Gita, Yato dharma tato jaya, means where there is dharma, there is victory. So it is that kind of victory that Krishna is talking about. And he says that I am. So within us, it is the victory of self-control over temptation. It is the victory of compassion over hatred. It is the victory of wisdom over our own little ignorant self. Then he says, I am striving. That is vyavasahaya asmi. So when we say we are striving for a goal, then what are the aspects of that striving? So firstly, we need to fix our goal. Secondly, we need to have deep focus in the direction we are going. Then we have to have certain effort and certain actions have to be put in. That is purusharth has to be done. And then comes the role of perseverance. So striving has all of these qualities inbuilt in it. And so when a person is striving for a goal, that is, in spite of obstacle, if the person keeps persevering, he keeps putting in energy, he brings in his creativity and inspiration, it is said that in this striving, God is present. So Jaya Asmi and Vyavasaya Asmi means I am victory and I am the striving. So whatever anybody, if you see around, people who are hardworking, who are striving for great goals, see that it is Krishna in them, that quality that makes them go, that willpower, that that determination, all of that, the intelligence that they use, the energy that they use, the raw materials from the universe that they use, everything is Krishna. And that is what he is clearly saying, that I am the striving as well as I am the victory. Then he says, among the good, I am sattva. So, sattva has certain qualities like clarity of mind, purity of heart, kind of a transparency, a simplicity is present in a sattvic individual. And so whenever you see people around you who are calm, steady, who are compassionate, who are loving, who are honest, who are sincere, this is the quality of sattva that shines through them. And then what is this quality? It belongs to Krishna. It is Krishna himself. Now, whenever you see a virtuous person, a good person, a clear and wise person, the body, just think of it this way, the body is just clay or the 5 elements which cannot animate itself. The body as a toy is being animated by a higher power, which is Krishna, and all the qualities that any body is portraying or projecting is also Krishna. The body is Krishna, the prana is Krishna, the mind is Krishna, the intellect is Krishna, all the feminine qualities being projected through it are Krishna, the essence is Krishna, life itself is Krishna, birth and death is Krishna. So everything is Krishna. So when you look at other people, it is good practice to see the good in them and then recognize that it is all Krishna. Even if you feel that they are portraying some bad qualities, Krishna says, I am that too. The darkness is also Krishna. So it is all a game in the end. If it is one Krishna, then whatever variety you are saying is just the projection of light and shadow, just like a movie. It is only the Maya is using your own mind to create that projection. Now you have to use the Vidya part of Maya, means the wisdom imbibed in Maya, to find out the truth that all this variety that I am seeing is actually one essence. And the entire Gita, Krishna has been telling us over and over again that he is everything. And so sometimes it is okay to understand that God is everything. But the other way of understanding is that God alone is, and everything else is just an appearance. So there are different ways of approaching. Whatever way you feel is appealing to your mind, you can go ahead with that. But eventually the ultimate truth, and especially the truth of Advaita Vedanta, is God alone exists. Everything else is a mere appearance. Okay. Also, an interesting kind of example we can take why Krishna says I am sattva and he's not saying I am tamas or rajas, which also he is. So tamas has a quality in which it binds us through low energy, through laziness, through sloth. Rajas binds us through hyperactivity and too much involvement, too much desire, too much passion. But sattva has the quality of taking us from the path of bondage to the path of freedom. So sattva exists in between the complete bondage as well as complete freedom. Only when we can increase the sattva in us, only when our chitta is purified, only when our mind is crystal clear, will we be able to reflect the soul within us. The Paramatman will be reflected. So just for an example, if there is a lake and the water is very muddy, so saying, let's say it has tamasic quality, it is very muddy, and the sun is shining, but the sun's reflection you will not be able to see any reflection in the water because of the muddy nature of the water. Now, the water is relatively clear, but there are too many waves over the surface. Even then, the reflection of the sun will be seen, but it will be distorted. So this is like the state of rajas. But if the water of the lake is crystal clear and there is no movement in it, then the sun will be beautifully reflected in that water. So same is the state of our own mind. The more relaxed, calm and still we can make the waters of our mind, the lake of our mind, Man Sarovar, the more we will be able to know that we are the Atman or we are the Paramatman itself, because Atman and Paramatman are the same. Only then can we realize our oneness with the infinite, and only then will our misery and sorrow go away. And that is the purpose of the entire spiritual path, that we have to get away from all misery and suffering. Okay, now we come to shloka number 37. Vrishninam vasudevosmi Pandavanam dhananjaya Muninam apyaham vyasa Kavi nama ushna kavi. वृष्णियों में मैं वासुदेव कृष्ण हूँ, पांडवों में मैं धनंजय अर्जुन हूँ, मुनियों में मैं वेद व्यास हूँ, ऋषियों में मैं विद्वान उशान शुक्राचार्य हूँ. Among the Vrishnis, I am Vasudev Krishna. Among the Pandavas, I am Dhananjay Arjun. Among the Munis, I am Vyasa. Among the sages, I am the seventh Ushanas or Shukracharya. So again, one by one, he says, among the Vrishnis, I am Vasudev Krishna. So for most people think this, it is Krishna is speaking, Krishna as a person is speaking, and then why he's saying that I am Krishna when he is already Krishna. So what he means here is he's talking about the entire Vrishni dynasty. So he is the shining luminary in the Vrishni dynasty in two ways. One is that the divine Krishna consciousness, the omnipresent Krishna consciousness is present in the entire Vrishni dynasty. But as a Purna avatar of Vishnu, he is now most glorified in his current incarnation in the body and personality of Dwarkadhish, of the king of Dwarka, or as the character that he is portraying right now. So that is why he says that I am Vasudev Krishna. So not only is he the character, the personality, or the king or the charioteer of Arjuna that he's playing, but he is talking about the Krishna consciousness which pervades the entire lineage of the Vrishnis. Then he makes a very interesting statement when he says, among the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Now, this is intriguing because he is speaking to Arjuna. Then why does he have to say that in the Pandavas, I am Arjuna? Because Arjuna amongst the Pandavas represents a very high quality of virtues. He has humility, he has devotion, he has sincerity, he has the power of focus, and he has the open heart and receptivity towards Krishna. And he says that if there's anyone that I want to be represented, and that is Arjuna. And there is a backstory to this as well, that in a previous incarnation, we know that Lord Vishnu incarnated as Nar and Narayana, the great sages who meditated together in Badrinath. So it is said that Krishna in his previous incarnation was Narayana, and Arjuna in his previous incarnation was Nara. And then, so Nara is the perfected human being, and Narayana is the supreme being. And again, they have reincarnated to play this Leela and give this message to the whole world, that if a human being is able to perfect himself, just like Arjuna did, then the divine consciousness, Narayana, they are both actually the same. Even Nar has Narayana in him. Arjuna has Krishna within him. The individualized consciousness already has divine consciousness within it. They are not separate. But here he is saying that I am those beautiful virtues and qualities and a perfected human being that Arjuna represents. I am that. Then he says, amongst Munis, I am Vedavyasa. Now, this is also very interesting because Vyasa is also considered partly as an avatar of Narayana. And we know that Vyasa had a great important role in organizing, in classifying the Vedas, in writing the Mahabharata, in giving us the Bhagavad Gita, in writing the 18 Puranas. So there's a lot of work that he did which is continuing to help us. And earlier Krishna has said that I am protecting Dharma always. So by writing the commentary on the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita, what did God or Krishna and Vyasa, what did they, they kind of made sure that through the ages, through this text, Anybody who is able to read this text, understand this text, and apply it will be able to make dharma victorious in himself. So now let's think of each one of us. We are, after thousands of years of the dialogue that actually took place, through the writings of Vyasa, we are able to read, grasp it with the help of Master. We are understanding it, and we are using this text to become victorious in our life. We are making sure that dharma wins, because only with the victory of dharma, there will be pure happiness and there will be the victory of truth. So Vyasa is a very, very important character here. And he's, of course, also the grandsire of the Pandavas and the Kauravas in the story. But Krishna, it is who gave the dialogue and who spoke the dialogue of Bhagavad Gita. And Vyasa, he kind of, through his intuition, he gave it to the world. So both are Krishna. So again, saying Krishna consciousness is that all pervading intelligence which is present in all the characters of this game or this Leela, and also the substratum behind all Leelas, behind all dramas, behind all stories, and behind all dreams. So here he says, I am Vyasa. Then he says, amongst sages, I am Ushanas or Shukracharya. So Ushanas or Shukracharya is supposed to be a very intelligent being. He is in fact the preceptor of the Daityas. He is very intelligent. He has a poetic side to him. He has a lot of powers. Master says that he has the power to resurrect the dead. So a powerful being, an intelligent being, an intuitive being, and a poetic being together. And as well as the preceptor of the Daityas, means he has to be intelligent and powerful. He says, I am that too. And the reference of Shukracharya, if you have heard about the story of the Vamana avatar of Vishnu, in which he is born as a dwarf, and then the king Bali is making sacrifices and donations, and this little dwarf comes and asks him to give him donation, and says, all I want is just 3 steps of your kingdom. And Bali, the Shukracharya here, warns Bali that he should not allow this little Brahmin to take 3 steps, because he understood the divine nature. But Bali said, okay, even if it is the Lord who wants this out of me, I am willing to do this. And of course, we know how the Vaman avatar, Vishnu avatar, he became victorious by taking, he put first foot on the earth, the second in the heavens, and third, because he said there is no space, so he put his foot on the offered head of Bali. So all these stories, of course, tell us that it is not bad to have power and fame and glory and money, but humility is very important, and the recognition of the fact that the all-pervading Lord is all-powerful. We have to remember that. However powerful we as an individual we can become, but we cannot be more powerful than the omnipotent Lord. And the same story goes with the Ravana thing. The Ravana is very, very powerful, but he forgets that the omnipresence of the Lord, the omnipotence of the Lord, you cannot be victorious over that, because that is truth itself. Now we come to shloka number 38. Dandodamayatam asmi nitirasmi jigishatam maunam chaivasmi guhyanam jnanam jnanavatamaham. मैं अनुशासन करने वालों का दंड हूँ, मैं विजयाकांक्षियों की कला हूँ, सभी छिपी वस्तुओं का मौन हूँ, तथा ज्ञानवानों का ज्ञान भी मैं ही हूँ. I am the rod of the disciplinarians. I am the art of those who seek victory. I am also the silence of all hidden things and the wisdom of all knowers. So again, let's pick this up one by one. I am the rod of the discipliners. Now, do you think discipline is important? Of course it is important. Now, suppose there was no punishment anywhere. Then is it possible to have a peaceful society at all? No, because there is a dark side to duality, because there is a Rakshas pravritti, there has to be some controlling power, some disciplining power against it to control it, so that dharma can be victorious, so that peace and harmony can prevail to an extent. So that is why every time a dharma increases, every time this dark side increases, God has to intervene personally as an avatar. And also in children these days, it is a fashion not to scold them, or not to, beating is not a good idea, but at least some kind of scolding, some form of punishment has to be there. And I'm remembering as a child, we were told this story that there was this little boy who would pick up things from his fellows, from the schoolmates, and his mother never scolded him. But so he got encouraged. He thought it's the right thing to do. And as he kept growing in age, in his adolescence, even greater age, this habit developed in him. And one day the police caught him and put him into prison. And then when his mother came to meet him, he was angry at his mother, saying, "Why did you not tell me or punish me that what I was doing was wrong?" So unless there is a rod of discipline, we tend not to learn, unless there is pain, unless there is a fear of discipline. So it's not that we should be doing right things only because of fear. It has to be out of love too. But fear has its own place. In the life of a devotee, the only fear a devotee need have is the fear of losing communion with God, is the fear of losing the grace of God, is the fear of going away from God into the whirlpools of Maya. So that is the kind of fear a devotee should have, because even if you have tasted the presence of the Lord a little bit, just a little bit, you don't want to lose that. You want to have more and more of it. But if you say, "Oh, it was just a one-time affair and I'm not sure again, I'm doubting again if God exists, and I go back into my worldly ways, then there is going to be only pain, misery, and suffering, because this is what the world's nature is." So therefore, discipline is important, and we should again be firm with our own self. We must practice discipline with ourselves. And eventually there is on the larger scale, the rod of discipline is the law of karma itself. And the law of karma is, so God is not a person sitting with a rod in his hand and saying, "Okay, I'm going to beat you and I'm going to punish you." No, it is we who punish ourselves every time we transgress the laws. And unless these laws are operation, the workings of this earth, this planet, would be completely chaotic. It has to be there, and it is part of physics. The whatever there is, whenever there is action, there is a reaction. It is a law of physics operable at all physical levels, even at mental levels. The law of karma operates not only physically but also at mental level. So the law of karma is who? He is Krishna. But then the powerful love that can help to bypass this law is also Krishna. So we must follow discipline. And when need arises, we have to surrender and love God, so that we can, because we do not know what mistakes we have made in the past. So then we can use this law of love over the law of karma, which can help us to transcend our own karma. Okay. The Bible also talks about the law of karma as the rod. Master says, it says, "Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." Now, can we say that the law of karma comforts me? If a person is a righteous person, if a person is a wise person, he or she will realize that the law of karma is actually a corrective path. It is only, and karma is only unlearned lesson. And it is by working my way through life that I will learn the higher lessons of truth, and then I can eventually free myself. So a wise person will see that the law of karma is, it is kind of comforting. And also when you see others, sometimes another person does so much bad and so much, creates so much misery in your life, then there are two ways to see it. There are two ways to bring comfort to you. No, one way is to say that maybe I did something. So you kind of reconcile a little bit, and it gives you some comfort in saying that maybe I initiated it, that is why I'm getting it. The other comfort is that you think that whatever this other person is doing, he cannot escape the law of karma, and eventually the rod of discipline is going to catch up with him. So in a sense, people who are wise will not see karma as really to be really fearful of, but an intelligent use of this law can eventually free us from the law itself. Now, also in this, the rod or the staff that is being talked about, in the yogic sense, we know that the spine is considered as that rod or that staff, which helps us. Now, when that rod staff is straight, it helps the free flow of energy towards the spiritual eye and towards the Sahasrara. And then again, it causes the chakras to blossom, it causes our awakening, and it eventually liberates us. Okay. Next, he says in this shloka, I am the art of those who seek victory. So, the art, or the shloka says, I am the niti. So, we know sometimes, even in politics, even in our daily administrative lives, we need to have certain tactics to handle the daily life challenges. That art of gaining victory on a daily life basis in little challenges, big challenges, and inner fights and inner challenges, even in big political scenarios, that art by which we can gain victory, even that is Krishna. He is the politics, he is the religion, he is the art behind it. And in India, we've heard a lot about Chanakya Niti, and we know how Chanakya Niti was used to protect Bharat, the country itself. And the Niti is used everywhere. It is used in almost every organization. But the art of running an organization or a country in an appropriate manner by protecting dharma, protecting the peaceful civilians, and yet being able to be strong in your defense and intelligent in your defense, that you do not allow the adharmic people to take over you. Then he says, I am the silence of all hidden things. Now, silence can be seen in multiple levels. So one is the silence of keeping secrets. So sometimes, it's difficult to keep secrets and you want to just share with others. But if you have been told to keep a secret, it's best to keep silent. It takes a lot of self-control to stay silent. So that is one angle of seeing silence. The other angle of seeing silence is on a daily basis. There are people who are talkative and there are people who are relatively, they do not keep talking all the time, relatively silent people. And again here, silence is more effective sometimes. I remember, when I was in school and we were all used to chit chat a lot and talk here and there, even in loud voices. You know how the school is like a fisherman's market, it seems, so many noises. And I had one of my friends used to speak very little, and whenever she used to speak, she used to speak very politely. So every time she opened her mouth to speak, suddenly everybody else would say, shh, 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 don't speak, let's listen to her. So in a sense, she had more power over others by speaking less and speaking politely. So these are subtle, soft powers. So again, we must learn to control our speech, and we must learn to be more in silence. And of course, when we are on the yogic path, when we are on the path to enlightenment, silence has its immense value. Speaking all the time, it takes out so much of your energy. All the energy from your brain, from your spine is going out through this chakra all the time. And for me also right now, it's going out into the world. And if you are able to preserve this energy, you do not know how much, power you can gain within. And that is why people take vratas of Mauna. So many Maunis. I have met a couple of Maunis who have not spoken for the last 12 to 14 years. And there is a radiance about them. There is a power about them. And we must also, therefore, practice this silence or solitude many, many times, starting with a few hours in a day or a few hours in a week, to more and more silence we must practice. Then finally, silence must be understood as that the substratum of all vibrations. So beyond all the movement, beyond all vibrations, beyond all sounds, beyond all music, is that substratum of absolute silence which supports all these sounds. When we write Om in Hindi like this, there is a dot over it finally, and that dot over the Om symbol actually represents the silence beyond the Om vibration. And that without that silence, no sound is possible. And then Sir Krishna is saying, I am the silence of all the hidden things. So understanding silence at all these levels is important. Understanding that silence is power, that is also important. And as Lord Shiva, as the Guru Dakshina Murti, how did he teach his disciples? He taught the sons of Brahma, the Sanat Kumara, Sananda, and so on. And it is said that he just sat in silence. And with the power of that silence, it is said that intuitively, all the wisdom was given to the Brahma Kumaras. And we also know in current day, we know Ramana Maharshi would stay in silence, and his silence was so powerful. Just a glance from him, or just being in his presence, made one so clear in the mind, and the restlessness went away. So again, there is power to silence, and let's check with ourselves: are we practicing silence, or are we increasing this quality day by day as we are moving on the spiritual path? So we come to the next shloka, which is shloka number 38. No, sorry, 39. Yachapi sarvabhutanam bijam tadaham Arjuna na tadasti vinayatsyan maya bhutam characharam. इसके अतिरिक्त मैं सभी जीवों की उत्पत्ति का बीज अथवा कारण हूं. हे अर्जुन, चल या अचल कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं है जो मेरे बिना रह सके. I am furthermore whatsoever constitutes the reproductive seed of all beings. There is nothing, O Arjuna, moving or motionless, that can abide without me. So what does this mean? So we may little extend our class today by 5-7 minutes. We'll finish chapter 10 today, okay? So when he says, I'm the reproductive seed of all things, that is directly saying the entire plant kingdom, the entire animal kingdom, the entire human species, whatever it is that biologically propagates any species. He is that seed. So he is the cause of the entire life. And so whatever you see around you, that has been born or come into existence because of the power of propagation and the power of life, of being alive, which is Krishna himself. And then, we should actually, this thing we should remember on a daily basis. This typically tells us that everything that we see around us is divine. Whether we see our own bodies and minds, whether we see bodies and minds of other people or animals. So within us, around us, everywhere, everything is divinity, everything is Krishna. But we should remember this truth all the time on a daily basis. Okay. Then he says, there is nothing moving or motionless that can abide without me. You see so much motion around you. Not only are the creatures moving here and there, but the wind is moving, the clouds are moving because of the wind, the rays around you are moving, everything around you that is moving, and all that is unmoving. So unmoving will have again two categories. One is the rocks and the mountains and the ocean floors, the earth, which appears to be unmoving. So that solid part. And also the unmoving again is the absolute existence, the substratum of all that is moving. The entire creation you see around you is changing and moving, and beyond this is the substratum, which is unchanging and unmoving. So Krishna is saying that there is nothing in this universe, moving or unmoving, that can abide without me. So he is again the cause of everything. Everything, everything, everything. Nothing is excluded. Nothing is beyond Krishna. Nothing is more than Krishna. And therefore, so it reminds me of this song that we used to sing as children. God's love is so powerful, or God's love is so deep, you can't get under it. It's so high, you can't get over it. So Krishna is that, is the all-pervading love, all-pervading power, all-pervading in all things, and you cannot get beyond him. So you yourself are Krishna. Then, so also this should help us in difficult times, this spiritual knowledge that everything is Krishna, that he is the sustainer. Whenever life becomes chaotic, whenever we are faced by challenges and difficulties, we must remember that everything is happening by God's will. And then if we love God deeply enough, we will develop that trust in him, that we can surrender to him and we can calmly and steadfastly go through the challenges of life. Okay, and challenges are going to come. Right now, the world is going through a challenging time, but then each individual can help to stabilize themselves. The maximum benefit that we can do to the world and for world peace right now is to create peace in our own self, or is to touch the peace of our own soul by regular meditation. When we can balance the restlessness of the world with a deep peace within ourselves, we would have done our duty as a child of God to create harmony and peace in this world. This brings us to shloka number 40. Nanto asti mam divyanam vibhutinam parantapa esha tu cha shata prokto vibhuter vistaro maya. हे परंतप अर्जुन, मेरे दिव्य गुणों की अभिव्यक्तियां अनंत हैं। मेरा संक्षिप्त वर्णन मेरी प्रचुर भव्य शक्तियों की एक झलक मात्र है। O scorcher of foes, Arjuna, limitless are the manifestations of my divine attributes. My concise declaration is a mere intimation of my proliferating glorious powers. So beautiful. He's saying, he's already said in detail, but now he's saying that the creation, the preservation, the dissolution that you see, the physical world, the astral world, the causal world, so many stories of this Leela from millennia, from not only hundreds and thousands of years, but yugas, or from kalpas, all that is happening, all these dramas, all the stories at all the levels, all of this is just an intimation of my glories. So difficult for us it is to, intellectually understand this truth. And yet, all we can do is simply like a child be in wonder, says, wow. And I really love that song that Swami wrote, well done, Lord, oh, very well done. So when you wake up in the morning, you look at this great, beautiful sky, or if you feel the wind on your face, or you feel a little warmth of the sunshine, or you feel a little creature, an animal walking by, humans walking by, it is all so wonderful. It should be, you should feel awestruck and, wondered by it. But we find that we are just complaining of things in our mind, and we are just lost and in our little small worlds, and we are not appreciating and in gratitude of the Lord, because he is everything, and this show is just magnanimous. I heard a story about a sage who, at the time of Sri Ramakrishna, it is said that he visited there, he stayed there, and he would stay inside his room all the time in a samadhi state or in a high state. And then when he would come out of his room, he would clap his hands, and he would be so happy to see the sky and the Ganges and the temple and everything, the world being what it is. And he would just say, wow, Lord, amazing, this is amazing. And when he would go back into samadhi, and of course, he would be in ecstatic communion with God. So this should also be our case to whatever extent is possible, that when we are sitting in meditation, we are feeling the peace of God, we are feeling the bliss of God. But when we open our eyes, we should try to forget our little I, me, mine, and just see the wonder of life that God has created around us. Okay, then we come to shloka number 41. Yadyadvibhutimam matsatvam shrimadurjitme vava tatdevavagachtvam mam tejom shasambhavam. जो भी व्यक्ति चमत्कार करने वाला है, जिसके पास सच्ची समृद्धि है, जिसके पास महान शक्तियां हैं, उन्हें तुम मेरे ही तेज के प्रकट अंश जानो. Any being that is a worker of miracles, who is a possessor of true prosperity, that is endowed with great prowess, know all such to be manifested sparks of my radiance. So here what is being said, these are very clearly understood shlokas. So Krishna is saying that whenever you see any good quality around you, whether you see prosperity, you see some intellect, you see some genius, you see some great musician, you see art, whatever you see, even the development of science and technology, who is the intelligence behind it? Who is the power behind it? Who is the beauty behind it? Who is the auspiciousness behind it? All is Krishna. So whenever you see anybody who has done something good in life, has attained some success in any field, there is no point of being jealous, because that quality in him is Krishna. And that Krishna is in you. All you have to do is develop that same quality. Instead of being jealous of the other person, develop these qualities which are common to everybody. They are available to everybody. It is only a matter of how much hard work, sincerity, and focus you are putting in any direction, and you can become anything that you want. So therefore, recognize the radiance of the radiant beings, the qualities of the radiant beings, and recognize that all of them are coming from Krishna, and all of them is Krishna. And we can also awaken our true hidden potential, the powers within us. They are all available to us. So we can also work through the ways of life and create a good, successful life for our own self. And this brings us to the final shloka of the Bhagavad Gita. Also, a disclaimer here to shloka number 41. If you think you are a very qualified person, and you are a rich and prosperous person, you are even a healthy person, and then you start to have pride in this, then here is the problem, because then you will be caught by Maya, because then you will start to think that you are the doer, you are the achiever, you are the person who is successful. Here, the person who is wise will be cautious, and he will understand that God is the doer. God is all the talents that he has. God is the prosperity that is functioning through him. It is God's intelligence, God's energy, God's raw materials, God's everything. If we remember this, then we are safe. Even though we may have a lot of riches and we may have a lot of material comforts, but we shall be safe. But as soon as I start to think that it is mine or I am doing, there is the problem. Then I will be caught, then there will be karma, then there will be misery, and then there will be more birth and death. And I think we are all done, and we need to just transcend the ego so that we can transcend all these trail events that will happen because of the ego. So the final shloka of chapter number 10. Atva bahunaitin kim gyatena tava Arjuna Vishtabhyaham kritsan ekanshena sthito jagat. परंतु हे अर्जुन, इस ज्ञान के विस्तृत विवरण की तुम्हें क्या आवश्यकता है? इसे सरलता से इस प्रकार समझो, मैं अपरिवर्तनशील और शाश्वत अपने अस्तित्व के केवल एक अंश से ही अखिल ब्रह्मांड का पोषण करता हूं और इसमें व्याप्त रहता हूं. But what need hast thou, O Arjuna, for the manifold details of this wisdom? Understand simply, I, the unchanging and the everlasting, sustain and permeate the entire cosmos, but with but one fragment of my being. This is so beautiful. So the entire complexity has been dissolved into a unique simplicity. He says, do not get so confused with the multifarious varieties that are present here. Understand this, that I am that one joining power, that one unchanging, eternal, Shashwat, that power, that energy, that consciousness which unites them, and through me and because of me and by me, everything it is as you see it is. And be for us also, instead of getting too much into the complex ways of the mind, what is the simpler way of understanding oneness? That is through the power of love. If we can awaken love in our hearts, if we can awaken devotion in our hearts, it is easy to bypass the multiple alleys of the complex mind. And it is this power which not only sustains everything, but it is the power through which we can go back to our own home. And therefore, if we can just remember this truth, that Krishna has become everything, he is everything, and he is saying that in this entire creation is from a mere fragment of his being. So he is infinite, he is eternal, he is love, he is our friend. In spite of being omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient, he is our friend, he is our benefactor, he is our savior, he is our parent, he is the seed from which we have evolved. He is all in all. All is Krishna, Krishna is all. And that's all we need to remember. And we need to feel him as the love in our own heart, as the joy that we can share with others, as a power of humility, of softness, not of control, a wisdom that enlightens ourselves and others, a calmness and a steadiness that we can bring ourselves to enlightenment. Let us see the light of Krishna in all. Let us hear the sound of Om, which is Krishna also. So let us attune ourselves with the aspects of the divine and know all of these are Krishna, and that we, us, we are all also made of that one beautiful, loving, powerful Krishna, who is our very own, who is us ourselves. So with this thought, we will end the 10th chapter and we will read the closing statement as is read after every chapter. Om Tat Sat. In the Upanishad of the Holy Bhagavad Gita, the discourse of Lord Krishna to Arjuna, which is the scripture of yoga and the science of God realization. This is the 10th chapter called Vibhuti Yoga, or divine manifestations. Om. So congratulations everybody for completing this journey till 10th chapter so far. It has been so beautiful and so powerful. And thank you for being here with me. And in fact, you're the reason why I got into so much depth of the Gita, to learn it, to understand it, to present it, to simplify it, to go towards other commentaries as well, to kind of pick up other stories and examples. So it is because of you all that I'm getting in-depth knowledge of the Gita more and more. So thank you very much.